We'll see how this goes. I really don't know.
This will be great.
Hello, I am Ricardo Rodriguez, and welcome to our first episode of Tequila Chats. I'm very excited to be starting this entire series, and I'm very happy to have you, Tim. Thank you very much for being part of our first little experiment.
Your first victim.
You are my first victim for sure. Thank you very much. I'm assuming that you know what you're here for.
To drink tequila.
To drink tequila, exactly. Well, that's the only thing that I know as
all
well.
These lights and cameras are for.
So let's go actually for it. Actually, you know what? Let me tell you a little, because you were asking me earlier about what this whole thing is about. I feel like in business, we sometimes learn from what we perceive as success, because that's what we put out as business people. But I think the most interesting part, in my opinion, is what goes behind the scenes. All the struggles, all the difficulties, all the hard work, all the tenacity that really goes into building anything in your life. And I think sometimes we miss that. And I think that's where the real inspiration comes from. It doesn't come from the shiny stuff. I know for me in my business, we tend to really market everything on the shinier side of things. But I think learning from how hard we work and from all of the difficult things we need to go through is a much more interesting process. I don't know if you agree or disagree with that.
Sure.
Perfect. And so before we start talking, I need to get you a little bit buzzed. And so have you ever tried this tequila?
Start spilling the secrets.
Exactly.
I have not.
That is the idea.
I have not.
So it's actually a really cool tequila. It's very delicious, very floral in my opinion. Jay Gordon, mutual friend, found a bottle of this in North Truro. Okay. In Salty's Market, I think it was, and he brought it as a gift. And it's absolutely delicious in my opinion. It's a great price point as well. It's called 123 Tequila. So 1 is the Blanco, the silver. The 2 is the Reposado, and then the 3 is the Añejo. So we'll be trying the Reposado. Good. It's organic product, which is pretty cool. It's also very artisanal. So the founder of the company really looks for people who have this very specific expertise, including things like the bottles. So the bottles are recycled glass that has been hand blown, and the labels are, again, recycled paper on soy ink, all that sort of stuff. So I think I love the story, but I love also the flavor.
Correct.
And so
can't wait to try.
Let me give you a little bit. Hopefully you will like it. Oh. That's like 2 shots. It's good.
It's a big ice cube.
Yes,
it's fine.
You're right.
It's
okay,
good.
Perfect. So cheers.
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 Thanks for having me on.
No, of course. Let's see. What do you think? I think it's delicious.
I think I have to have a little more.
You need to have a little bit.
Just really form my opinion.
Cheers, guys. It's really delicious.
Yeah,
it
really
really
good.
is.
Run out to your local, what's the name of the market?
Salty's Market. If you are North Truro, otherwise fine. That is really, really amazing.
It's good.
But let's start the conversation. I am a big fan of origin stories also as well, because I think that your origin story informs how you run your life. We've had actually this conversation many times about other parts of life. And so do you mind sharing anything about your origin story?
Sure. So origin story, like where I grew up? Or
where do you come from?
Like real estate?
Yeah. No, in terms of when you come from. Like what is your genesis and so on?
Yeah, I am one of 4 boys. We grew up in Lexington, Massachusetts. My mom and dad were both school teachers. Mm-hmm. I think kind of part of our story is that my dad died when we were young. So we were 11, 10, 9, something like that.
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
My brother Brian was 5. So I think that was a big part of what kind of formed our our later life. My mom struggled with 4 boys and no husband and income, and so those were very lean years. And she was a remarkable woman, and she raised some good boys.
I love it because even right now, when I see you and your brothers, you are so close. Like you work together, you spend all this time together. Like later on tonight, we're going to go and see your brother and sister. And it's really amazing how close you have. And so you think that is really part of that story. You really had to find the support within your brother.
We love each other, and as later in life, we've kind of chosen to all still be together, and we all have homes in Kennebunkport, and we spend a lot of time together.
But tell us about your mom, because I love your mom. She was really
amazing. She was strong woman to go through what she did, crazy character.
Yeah.
And she was very proud of her son, Tim, for sure.
She really was.
All of her sons.
My Timmy.
Her Timmy. Huge influence in my life. And it's funny how I recognize her traits in me as I get older.
So do you feel, let me ask you this, because I know it's the case in my own life.
Can I keep drinking this?
Of course. I know, of course. Drink more. The more you drink, the better the conversation gets and the better looking I get. But I was just going to say, I know that for for me, that the relationship to my mother, which is very special, really kind of like inform my desire to do better and bigger things. Do you feel that that is the same thing with you and the relationship with your mother?
For sure. So from, I was my mom's, caretaker, protector from when my dad passed away. And from a young age, I knew that I wanted to make her life better. And so I'm sure that's absolutely the foremost driving force. I saw my mom struggle and I didn't want her to struggle. So, and I can remember telling her as a young kid, and she remembers these stories, or she would remind me of these. I don't maybe have the exact memory, but I have the memory of her telling me this, that I used to tell her, Mom, don't worry, it's all going to be okay. Yeah. One day you'll sit out on your deck looking out at the ocean eating potato chips. And that was like a kid's idea of eating potato chips.
So you got fabulous purses instead of the potato chips. But I have a friend, his name is Craig Hogan. He's in Chicago. I think you met Craig once, actually on my 50th birthday. And he would say he will always ask, like, what's your why? Because your why really is why you put up with so much stuff, with so much crap in some instances, with so much dedication and hard work. And so I in many ways I kind of connect with you as to your why. Your why. My why is my mom, of course, and is Michael and my niece, my nephews, my brother. Family in general. It's the why, and I just love that. But
and I think we share that in common.
Yes, we really do. We really do. It's very cool, very interesting. But now, in terms of your business, because I don't think I mentioned it to you guys, but he looks amazing here. He looks super relaxed. But this guy is the most incredible hotelier.
Big word.
No, you are the most
hotelier.
How many hotels do you have? I don't even know. Do you know how many you have?
A bunch.
A bunch of them, and restaurants.
I mean, that's when I can hear my mom on my shoulder, like, really going to start saying numbers or whatever.
But I ask
you. A bunch.
No, And so what is incredible about them is that it's not just hospitality, but it's really, really elevated hospitality. Because when I met you, you were mostly real estate.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember this, but when I met you, it was like, it was 27 years ago, and you had just finished renovating a 1-bedroom in the Back Bay. It was the corner of Mass Ave and, was it Marlboro or Beacon? And I went and I visited you. I had just met you a couple of months before that. I heard that you sold it, and next time you were in this gorgeous house in Moss Hill. And then after that, I saw you in Miami, doing homes all over the place. So real estate was originally kind of like your world.
Yeah.
Right?
So interesting, I mentioned I grew up in Lexington. My best friend in kindergarten, his dad was a real estate developer, investor, and he owned apartment buildings. And so we would, on Fridays, his dad would pick me up, and Ronnie would go up to Nashua, New Hampshire on the way to their summer camp, and we would vacuum the hallways of these big brick apartment complexes. Yeah. And I thought, this is so cool. I can believe this guy owns these apartment buildings. And I was a kid, young, however old you are at that age. And his dad tells the story of me reading his property management magazines as like a little kid. And so it's funny because those are stories that I hear, and I saw Ronnie recently, and he was retelling those stories from back then. But I can absolutely draw a line right to that I knew then that this is interesting. Yeah. That this was a successful guy. This is what I wanted for my family.
But where do you think the hospitality component comes? Because it's such a lifestyle.
Yeah. So I've always been interested in design. My original business was retail shopping centers. I did commercial leasing. I worked on Newbury Street from 20, and started a company that did commercial leasing, and we did brokerage. And I would use commissions to buy buildings back from an early age. Yeah. And built a commercial portfolio. But I always loved houses. So I'm a house whore. I've owned, I don't even know how many, a lot, a million, zillion, And I love doing houses. And that is, I think, what kind of led into the hospitality thing. I've, had a summer house in Kennebunkport for many times.
Yes. The one that was right on the water where the boat.
Yeah,
that one? Oh, yeah, I love
that was the first one that Michael and I had, and then I had traded for one earlier than that, a little Cape, but many houses. Yeah, and that is really that's like, say, the hobby part of it. Yeah, and about 18 years ago, something I bought kind of by mistake what would be my first hotel, and it was just was 14 little cottages on a cove. And I didn't know what it was going to be. I just thought it was going to be fun and renovate these little cottages. I didn't realize at the time when I bought, well, this is, of course, this is a hotel. It's going to be a hotel.
Yes.
And so I hired a couple to run it. I actually bought their inn was for sale, agreed to buy their inn if they'd run Cabot Cove, and I turned their inn into a house and renovated it and sold it. And so they ran the hotel. I had no idea what I was doing, as they told me every day. And that's the genesis of that was Hidden Pond. Everything I wanted to do at Cabot Cove, couldn't do. Bought a piece of land over behind Goose Rocks Beach and kind of design what we thought of as like
I love Hidden Pond.
Best
I am so partial to Hidden Pond. It's just so gorgeous. Such an experience.
Been there so many times.
Oh yeah, I remember at the beginning.
It's great.
At the beginning, you were so generous, like just come in and make
noise.
Yeah,
because we needed bodies. We need to turn lights on, put cars in the
We literally, by the way, we spend months at the Hidden Pond. Now we can afford one day at Hidden Pond, but we spend months.
Like employees park in the driveways and turn lights on and whatever. So look full.
We literally would be out there, like, making noise, throwing parties.
Totally.
It was amazing.
Can you please come again this weekend? Anyways, so then it grew from there. I had a kind of a capital event where I decided to sell my shopping centers in Boston, and I was really enjoying the hotel business. So at that time, bought up a lot of properties in that area and got into that business. I acquired a business partner that she actually knew what she was doing. She was had spent 25 years in the hotel business, and
And then the restaurant was so hand in hand. And it just adds to that experience, which is just incredible. But what I love about your business, and I've said this to you before, is kind of like that continuity, because experientially, they might have like different vibes, because not everything is identical in terms of a vibe. They have a different vibe. They have a thread, which I think is very New England, is very chic New England. Everything that you have is very chic New England. But I do think it's such an experience. It's such a elevated experience.
Yeah, we believe people travel for design now, and
that's very true.
Kind
actually,
of think of ourselves as a design company in the hotel business.
Yeah.
And so we spend lots of time thinking about what something's going to look like. We're in the joy business, and our job is to surprise and delight our guests. And we do that in many different ways, but for sure through design.
I said that about my business. Technically, I'm selling homes, but really I'm in the life business,
100%.
Bring people
and
joy
also
through
design. I mean, your design is one of the first. When I think of your company and what you do, the first word that comes to mind is high design.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you. That's a nice compliment. But let's pivot a little bit on the conversation, because I remember by the way, you don't know this because we never talked about this, but one of my favorite pieces of business was a home that I sold for you at the Ritz-Carlton. Do you remember that?
Okay, yeah, because
it was like a really cool. It was a one bedroom. It's like a pied a terre. You were coming to Boston at the time. Yeah. You were about to really just move out of Boston and spend more time in Miami, but Boston was still part of a itinerary.
I remember that.
It was just so quintessential you, because it kind of like embody your aesthetic so like strongly and so clearly. And I just remember the kind of like the way that it resonated with the audience, with like the buyers that were coming through, through the doors. And this wasn't during the best of market conditions, but I remember being able to move the property relatively fast for you. But it was about that connection, that connection between your aesthetic and what it means to people, and the kind of like lifestyle that people expect to get from that design.
Storytelling, and that's what we do in the hotel business, and it's clearly what you do as well. So.
And so what is next for you in terms of business? I know that you just opened the Lincoln.
Next? We the Lincoln opened last year, which was really gorgeous. Fun to move out of the kind of seacoasty. The Lincoln is a 240,000 square foot renovated mill, as you know, 170 loft apartments and a 35-room, really cool hotel, kind of like a Soho house.
Yeah.
Rooftop swimming pool, Batson River.
That's
really
amazing.
Fantastic. In Biddeford, Maine, which is like the Barcelona of the United States.
It is.
I keep saying
that's what I say.
We'll come back.
I'm going to repeat that from now on.
Incredible city with the most beautiful beaches. A real makers city.
It really is.
Like a Brooklyn vibe.
Yeah, it does.
An incredible food scene happening, and then train station to Boston, train to Portland. So really kind of a happening.
So as you were building this business, what do you think was the hardest thing to overcome? I'll tell you about my experience. My biggest thing is I feel like I am fearless, but not in a pathological way. Not like I'm going to jump out of a building. Like thinking that I'm fearless, but at the same time, I can feel fear trying to like creep in, and I have to really kind of like control it. And that really is my cross to bear. What do you think it is?
That's a great description. I think
Yeah.
that's an amazing description. I've never heard you actually describe it that way, and that I would say relate to that. I had someone tell me once that you learn your limitations from your dad. I have no idea if this is true or not, because my dad died young. I never was taught my limitations. So I have a certain piece of that fearlessness too, like that I believe I can do anything.
Yeah.
And, we're always, punching above our weight, stepping into new areas and bigger and different projects, and, somehow believe that we can do it, and we've been able to do it. That doesn't mean that there haven't been some times where you think, maybe I should jump off this roof or whatever it is.
Seriously.
We've been through many markets, and you wondered, I'll use the Lincoln as an example, it's 240,000 square feet of vacant mill space, pigeons, flying through, and I carried that for a lot of years, trying to get, bankers to understand that
what you were going to do.
I wanted a luxury hotel in Biddeford. If it had just been an apartment complex, I would have finished that project years before, but I wouldn't give up the idea of the hotel, which I think makes it the most interesting. And I think that's now proven out.
So you think that articulating vision is like one of the hardest things to do?
Is it one of the hardest things? I think it's one of the most important things.
Yes.
And I would say that
what happens?
Articulating vision. Is that
because what happens when people don't get it? I think that sometimes like you're trying to articulate this idea, this notion, this direction, and when you're trying to build this business that doesn't look like anybody else's, that is your own, that is innovative. Sometimes people don't get it.
Another way, I guess, that I could answer that is that if I had a skill set or something that I think that I personally am good at, it's a couple of things. One is spotting talent and elevating talent. I frustrate my design team because I kind of think of myself as a designer, and I'm not, as they remind me all the time.
All the time, I'm
like,
sure.
Stay in your
I
lane.
know which one is the one that reminds you the most.
And so elevating talent to people, for sure, spotting that. But articulating a vision, I think that's interesting, and I would say that that's something that I'm good at. Literally, my job every day is, articulating a vision to our employees. Yeah. About like what is our vision of hospitality, or to bankers. I spend, I just came from a lunch with one of my bankers. I spend lots of time with bankers, cities, towns, communities, about what, I see for our project.
I'm successful when I can articulate the emotional part of a transaction, or with the emotional part of a piece of business. That's what it is. I am not necessarily your hard numbers guy. And so I've learned not to pretend or show that because that's not really who I am. And so do you feel that really leaning into not just skill-based, but where your intelligence is, whether it's an emotional intelligence, whether it's a hardcore numbers intelligence, you think that is part of a successful business growth?
I think so, for sure. But I think, when I see you authentically love what you do. You can't fake that. Yeah. And I feel like that would be something that someone could say about me is, I wake up in the morning excited about what I'm working on, the projects that we have, the people that I get to work with. I tell people ad nauseum. I mean, I'm sure people are sick of hearing about this, that we're in the joy business.
Yes.
Our job is to, wake up and bring joy to people. People choose to spend their vacation dollars with us for the most part. It's an amazing thing. And so their memories and their vacation memories are made with us. I take that very seriously, and so does our team. But I know I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, and do what you love. Did you do that?
I've freaking been drinking it because you've been talking too much.
Wow.
I am literally going for it. You need to catch up. You need a little bit more? Maybe just like a little.
Well, just a little make you feel better.
Oh, please, don't try to shame me on this.
I think it's illegal.
I'll show all your dirty laundry. Well, cheers again.
Cheers.
I always say that I'm an accidental real estate person, but it was love at first sight. I really did.
Found your calling.
It really did find me, and I never thought that this was going to be for me, but I think I found the way in which brings me joy. So, how tipsy are you?
I'm doing a shot or something?
Yes.
It really is good, by the way.
It really is delicious.
Is this, I don't know if it's like a commercial or something, but it's really
not a
good.
commercial.
Run out and buy this.
It really is incredible. We might have to bring some.
Yeah.
So I know you're shy about things that you do, but tell us about your tremendous success on the social media world. You guys have to check this. You have to check these two amazing reels. He's like a viral sensation, aren't you? I would call you that. I barely get 5 likes.
I'm not even on TikTok.
Barely get 5 likes, but this one is like all over the place.
No, that's not.
And by the way, twice to like hit it big. So tell us about the first one.
There's one, I don't even know. I can't even talk about it because I don't even know, but there's a guy that does stories
what is his name?
about...
Michael, what is his name? Daniel Mack.
Daniel Mack.
Yeah,
he does
Daniel
stories. Mack. He asks people, how did you make your money or something like that? Something crass like that. And I think Tequila was involved in that as well.
I'm not saying anything.
I did an interview with this guy. Why are we talking about this?
No, because it's amazing. No, because there is a purpose. There is a point to this.
And there is a point because you know, I randomly spoke about gratitude, and gratitude
that's what I wanted to get
my
to.
life.
If you worship money, that's a terrible thing. Because money is an energy. It has to go out to come in, you know. And you hear about the power of gratitude and all those things. That's real. The name of this book, by the way, is going to be gratitude. You have to be thankful and you have to share.
You know, it's anyone who knows me knows that I, believe in the power of gratitude, but not. It sounds cliche, but I wake up grateful every day for all the blessings that I've had in my life, and there's so many.
Yeah.
And when you spend your day or coming from that place of gratitude, it's kind of crazy, but you end up, it's like a habit, and you just end up living in that place, and I don't know, it's like more comes to you. This is the way to explain it, but that
you open yourself up for it.
Swirls around and people, and it's contagious. It's amazing. It's fun to play with it actually, and just really dig in to sit in that place now and understand how that's influenced my life is incredible. And I think there's also a point that you get to where you can look back and see, what was I worried about last year? Stressed out, whatever the thing was. I don't know, I'm sure. Yeah. But what was it? Do you remember? Can you remember?
No, you don't remember those things.
So somehow things work out. I don't know. The universe has your back. Yeah. And
if you're open to it, by the way.
Yeah. And if you're keying into this, I was talking about that with gratitude, like playing with the concept of that I don't know that I see the answer to this problem right now in front of me, but I'm at the point in my life where I can be confident that the answer will come. It's there, it's floating. Just, you don't always have to be thinking about it all the time. You put it out there. I have this issue, this problem, this situation. I need to deal with it. It's coming, but I trust that things are going to work out. Yeah. When you get to that place of trust, boy, life gets a lot easier.
And then you have a second viral TikTok, which is a fashion TikTok.
What are you wearing today?
I'm wearing an old... vintage retro.
Okay.
That one I'm very jealous about, by the way. I'm like,
I don't know if it's viral yet, but anyways, it's getting some movement.
He got like some French fashion influencer to really talk about his amazing outfit at the time.
Courtney pushed me out of the way.
She thought she was gonna be it. I love that. I love that part. Well, I think I've taken too much time.
It was great to be here with you, and thank you for having me.
One last thing. Don't say goodbye yet. Sorry. I'm not done with you. Have you drank?
I have more tequila.
I'm a pusher, guys. You're finding out that I'm actually a pusher. I push people on real estate, and I push people on drinks. What is your secret?
What is my secret? Well, I think we already talked about it. The power of gratitude, I would say, if that has to be the answer, is that I am grateful every moment of every day for sometimes what we perceive as the good and the bad and all of it, because none of it is, that's all leading us to the next thing. So.
Well, I'm grateful to you.
Thank you.
For your friendship,
and I'm grateful for
your support, for being here.
Yeah.
My first guest.
Yeah, great.
Yes, hopefully I didn't embarrass you.
Thank you for having me.
We'll see the final cut. Bill's going to do a good job with the final cut. We won't be embarrassed.
Make me look good.
But guys, thank you very much for watching. With that, salud.
Cheers.
Salud. Cheers to you. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Just look at It's crashing the shot. Of course he had to. You want some? You want a little sip? Little sip?
Yes.
There you go for it. Delicious. Thank you.
Thank you.